The health plan your HR department recommends most often during open enrollment is, for the majority of people who choose it, the worst financial decision they make all year. And that's just the beginning of what's buried in the packet they sent you. Somewhere in that document, between the legal disclaimers and the comparison charts designed to make your eyes glaze over, is between $8,000 and $14,000 in compensation that your employer fully expected you to leave on the table. And statistically, you did. Not because you're careless, because the system was built around your confusion being financially convenient for them. I'm Yash, and I've spent the last several years analyzing the gap between what employers offer and what employees actually collect. What I've found is uncomfortable, because when you look at the data, this isn't accidental. The structure of open enrollment, the timing, the format, the language, is not designed to help you maximize your compensation. It's designed to minimize employer cost. And the budget your HR department operates under is literally built around the assumption that most of you won't fully participate. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where that money is sitting, what each piece is worth, and the specific action required to claim it before your next window closes. But before I walk through all 6 categories, I need to tell you something about that health plan recommendation, because it's the thing that unlocks or locks everything else, and almost nobody understands why. Here's what actually happens during open enrollment. Your company gives you a 30-day window, sometimes less. You get an email with a link. You click it, and you're met with a plan comparison grid, a list of voluntary benefits, a retirement contribution slider, and somewhere in fine print, a deadline. HR hosts one information session, usually 30 minutes over Zoom, and they spend 20 of those minutes on health insurance because that's the loudest, most visible decision. Everything else gets a slide, maybe 2. That ratio is not accidental. Every minute your employer spends not explaining a benefit is a minute that costs them nothing. When you don't enroll in the HSA employer contribution, they keep it. When you don't bump your 401k to capture the full match, they keep it. Open enrollment is designed around the assumption that most employees won't fully participate, and the budget is built around that assumption. Think carefully about why. The average American worker leaves between $1,000 and $4,000 in unclaimed 401k employer match alone every single year. That's according to Financial Engines, a firm that analyzed retirement accounts across more than 4 million employees. That's not a rounding error. That's a car payment, a month's rent, a vacation, compounding inside an account you never touched. And that's just one line item. Everything I'm about to show you is your compensation. It is money your employer agreed to give you as part of your total pay package. You earned it. You're just not collecting it. The first place money hides is your 401k match, and most people think they understand this one. They don't. The most common structure is something like the employer matches 50% of employee contributions up to 6% of salary. Most employees read that and think, okay, they match half of what I put in. What they miss is the threshold. If you're contributing 3% of your salary, you're capturing half the available match. Contribute 4%, still not there. You have to hit 6% of your own contributions before you're capturing every dollar your employer is willing to give you. Vanguard's 2023 How America Saves report found that 28% of employees eligible for a match were not receiving the full amount, not because they couldn't afford it, but because they set their contribution at 3% 3 jobs ago and it followed them. Here's what makes this worse. Many 401k plans have a vesting schedule. Your employer's contributions may not legally belong to you until you've been there 2, 3, even 6 years. You might look at your account, see a matching balance, assume you have that money, and if you leave before you're vested, a portion of it disappears. This is called a vesting cliff. HR is not going to remind you about it during open enrollment. The enrollment action here is specific. Log into your retirement account, find your contribution rate, and calculate exactly what percentage of your salary you need to contribute to capture 100% of your employer's match. That number, not 3%, not 5%, but the exact threshold in your plan is the number you enter. Now, here's the part almost no HR rep will bring up because it's complicated: the after-tax 401k and the mega backdoor Roth. Some employers allow contributions beyond the standard pre-tax limit by accepting after-tax dollars, which can then be converted to Roth. The 2024 total contribution limit across employee and employer is $69,000. Most people max out at $23,000 in pre-tax contributions and stop there, not knowing there's an additional bucket available. This isn't for everyone. It requires a specific plan design. But if your employer offers it, you're looking at potentially tens of thousands in additional tax-advantaged dollars annually. Check your plan documents for the phrases after-tax contributions and in-plan Roth conversion. If those phrases exist, you have access to a strategy most of your colleagues have never heard of. The second cluster of hidden money is where we come back to that health plan question I opened with, because this is where the HSA lives, and the HSA changes everything. The health savings account is only available if you're enrolled in a high-deductible health plan. This is exactly why HR's tendency to steer employees toward the PPO by default is so financially consequential. The HSA has three separate tax advantages that no other investment vehicle in America matches. Contributions go in pre-tax, reducing your taxable income. The money grows tax-free inside the account, and when you withdraw it for qualified medical expenses, you pay no tax on the way out. Triple tax advantaged. No other account does that. Not your 401k, not your Roth IRA, nothing. Here's what most people miss entirely. You don't have to spend it this year. The HSA is not use it or lose it. You can invest the balance, let it grow for decades, and use it in retirement where medical expenses typically spike. Many employers also contribute between $500 and $1,500 into your HSA as a seed contribution, free money that appears in your account the moment you enroll. Most employees never collect it because they selected a different health plan without running the actual numbers. The FSA, the flexible spending account, does have a use it or lose it component, but the rule has exceptions most HR reps get wrong. The IRS allows plans to offer either a $640 rollover into the following year or a 2.5-month grace period to spend down the balance. Your employer chooses which option to offer, and they're not required to tell you which one you have unless you ask. The Dependent Care FSA is the version almost nobody enrolls in, and the dollar value here is significant. If you have children under 13 or a dependent adult in your household, you can contribute up to $5,000 pre-tax toward eligible care expenses, daycare, after-school programs, elder care. At a 22% federal tax bracket, that's $1,100 in taxes you simply don't pay. At 24%, it's $1,200. That's not a deduction. That's money that stays in your pocket. Stop here. This is the part that requires action, not just attention. Right now, while this is playing, open a new tab and log into your HR portal. Check three specific things: your HSA enrollment status, your FSA elections for both healthcare and dependent care, and your 401k contribution percentage versus your employer's exact match threshold. Those three checks will tell you whether you're leaving money behind before we even get to the next section. Most people skip life insurance and disability enrollment because they're young and they feel fine. Here's the uncomfortable truth about that logic. Employer-provided group life insurance is almost always offered at no cost up to a base amount, typically 1 to 2 times your annual salary. But almost every employer also offers voluntary supplemental life insurance you can elect in multiples of your salary, usually up to 5 times. The additional cost per pay period for bumping from 1 times to 3 times coverage is often less than $10 per pay period, sometimes less than 5. The reason to care about this during open enrollment specifically is the guaranteed issue rule. During your initial enrollment window, you can typically elect supplemental coverage without medical underwriting. No medical exam, no questions about pre-existing conditions. That window closes.
If you try to add coverage later, you may have to qualify medically, and coverage may be denied entirely. This is a door that only opens once. Short-term and long-term disability follow the same logic. Studies show 1 in 4 workers will experience a disability that keeps them out of work for 90 days or more at some point during their career. Most people's financial plan for that scenario is, "I'll figure it out." Disability coverage through your employer can replace 60 to 70% of your income during a period when you physically cannot earn it. Know what your plan covers and exactly when each layer of coverage begins.
Now we reach the two categories where the data gets genuinely embarrassing because, based on utilization rates, there's a better than 70% chance you've never touched either of these. The Employee Assistance Program is a benefit your employer almost certainly offers and almost certainly didn't spend more than 45 seconds explaining during your orientation. Here's what it actually includes. Most EAPs provide 6 to 12 free therapy or counseling sessions per year through a licensed provider network, not at a discount, free. They also typically include free legal consultations for things like reviewing a lease, setting up a will, or navigating a small claims dispute, financial counseling, sometimes identity theft resolution services. The estimated retail value of what a fully utilized EAP provides annually runs between $800 and $2,000 depending on what you access. The reason utilization rates hover around 6%, according to research from the International Employee Assistance Professionals Association, has nothing to do with need. It has everything to do with the fact that HR mentioned it once on a slide that said, "We care about your well-being," and never told you how to actually use it. Contact your HR department this week and ask them for the EAP access instructions specifically. That's the entire action required. Tuition reimbursement is where the largest single dollar amount in this audit lives for most employees. The IRS allows employers to provide up to $5,250 per year in tuition reimbursement as a tax-free benefit. You don't pay income tax on it, your employer gets to deduct it. Based on data from the Society for Human Resource Management, roughly 83% of employers with 500 or more employees offer some form of tuition assistance. Usage rates are in the single digits. The reason people don't use this isn't that they don't have educational goals, it's that they assume the program only covers full degree programs, or that the application process is too burdensome, or that they'll have to repay it if they leave. Some of those concerns are valid for some plans. Read the clawback clause carefully. But many programs cover professional certifications, industry licenses, and continuing education credits, a project management certification, a coding bootcamp module, a financial planning designation. These often qualify. $5,250 tax-free to increase your earning capacity. Almost nobody uses it. One more thing, and this one is brand new. Post-Secure 2.0, employers can now make 401k contributions matched against your student loan payments, meaning you can build retirement savings while paying down debt simultaneously. This started rolling out in 2024. If you have student loans and your company has updated their retirement plan, this could be the highest leverage change you make this year. Ask HR directly whether your plan includes this provision. Here's what the total audit looks like when you add it up. 401k match fully captured, $2,000 to $4,000. HSA employer seed contribution, $500 to $1,500. Dependent Care FSA tax savings, $1,100 to $1,500. Supplemental life insurance at guaranteed issue rates, $200 to $600 in annual coverage value. EAP fully utilized, $800 to $2,000. Tuition reimbursement accessed, $2,000 to $5,250. Run the conservative numbers and you're at $6,600. Run the realistic numbers for a median income employee and you're at $11,000 to $14,000 in annual compensation that most employees never collect. Here's the reframe that actually matters. None of this is your employer being generous. This is your compensation package. When you accepted your job offer, someone in HR calculated the total value of your benefits as part of your total compensation,
and that number went into a spreadsheet that compared your offer against market rates. The benefits aren't a gift on top of your salary, they are your salary, and every line item you don't claim is a line item your employer keeps. The institutional problem here isn't that employers are malicious, it's that the system is designed around your inaction being financially convenient for them. Open enrollment is dense by design. The presentation is surface level by design. The 30-day window is short by design. You were not given the information you needed to make fully informed decisions. Now you have it. The first step is the audit. Pull up your portal today, not next October. The second step is recalculating your 401k contribution to hit the match threshold exactly. The third step is enrolling in or maximizing the HSA if you're on a high-deductible plan and confirming your FSA elections. After that, contact your HR department directly and ask them to walk you through EAP access and whether tuition reimbursement covers your specific educational goals. These aren't complicated conversations, they're just ones most people never have. Which benefit on your employer's list are you currently not enrolled in? Drop it in the comments. Someone watching might know something about it you don't. And if this changed how you read your HR packet, subscribe, because next week we're covering the 3 financial decisions your employer is making on your behalf right now without ever asking you.